Picture this shocking scene. You wake up and you go to the restroom, you look in the mirror, you don't recognize that face. You start to think, you don't even remember your name. You walk around the house frantically, see photos, you don't recognize who they are. You've lost, in some ways, your identity. You have amnesia. It happens to 1.8% of the world's population. And friend, think about that. With 8 billion people, 144 million people struggle and suffer with some form of amnesia, whether it is traumatic through an accident or some kind of stress or some other way that amnesia strikes. It's scary. It's scary to not know who you are. What are you going to do? How are you going to go about your day when you can't even recall the basics of who you are? Well, friend, let me submit something to you. Most of us suffer from identity loss in terms of our purpose to be set apart, to be called higher, and we wander. We wander through life because we think, well, you know what? I thought life was to be X, Y, and Z, and why am I living like there is no true meaningful value or purpose in life? Why am I having, if you will, an identity crisis? And I believe that that is the single most resonant reason why we don't live in purpose, because we have amnesia on who we are called to be, to raise that consecrated bar to the highest possible standard of what living fully looks like. And we suffer and we struggle and we are like in the dark, blinded by what we cannot see. Friend, I want to suggest today is the day that we begin to reclaim our identity, because that's where fire happens. That's where the vigorous life happens. That's where you and I begin to live fully. And here's the thing about Jesus. He knew who he was. He was secure, he was clear, and he was driven and focused in his identity. He knew what his mission was. He knew what his purpose was. He knew who he was. He didn't need anyone to affirm him and tell him. He didn't need anyone to share that with him. All he needed was the Father to walk in unity with him. And Jesus says it like this. He says, look, you know what? If you're not living in your identity, you're living in bondage. What I've done, I've come that you should live free. And I will help you discover or rediscover your identity. And it starts with how you surround and orient your life. In fact, he has a 4-part process in the 8th chapter of John and about the 31st verse, where you've heard this saying, the truth will set you free. Well, guess who the quote was of? It was Jesus. But he didn't start there. That was the ending. The starting was this: if you abide in my word. Step 1, make his word your home. Live in it. Manifest his word into your life. Because I can tell you this, we all live in homes, and we wonder why we're not living in purpose, because we don't recognize any of that as related to our true identity. We have to reorient. We have to invite him into our life and begin to commune with him. Because once we do that, step 2 happens. You are truly my disciple. If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciple. What does that mean? You become a student. If you spend time with a teacher, you become a student. You spend time in a home, you start to learn your way around. It becomes part of who you are. Step 2, step 3. What happens with step 3 once you become a student? The truth. You will know it. If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciple, and you will know the truth. So you can't know what truth is until you become a student. You can't become a student until you abide in, spend time with the teacher. And then the 4th step, and you know this is how we began, this is how we'll end. The truth will set you free. And then, of course, he galvanizes it. He seals it and says that the Son has set you free. You are free indeed. Friend, it's time to come out of amnesia. Begin to reclaim your identity, your purpose, so that you can live the hagios, the set apart, the differentiated life in such a way that when you get up every morning, you recognize your face and you know what you are called to do. Spend time today in prayer. Spend time today reorienting your life and beginning to abide in Jesus' word. Whether you open up the scriptures, whether you remember the scriptures, whether you pray, set time apart, break away, and begin to reclaim that life that is so valuable, that is so worthy, that you are on the road to receiving.